You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it?
On today's episode of Annual Pass, we talk about the largest attraction ever built by the Disney company. It could fit a whole theme park in one attraction. It's that big. Find out what it is right now. Hello, everyone, or should I say Jumbo, and welcome to a brand new episode of Annual Pass. This is the podcast where we talk about all things theme parks, rides, shows, attractions, but happens in a theme park. It happens here on Annual Pass. I'm your host, Jack Pattillo, and of course, joining me as always is my lovely, talented, beautiful co-host, BK. Hi, Beaks.
Hello, Jack.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous.
Jumbo! Hey! If you know anything about Animal Kingdom in particular, you know what we're going to be talking about today. But hey, before we get to that, let's talk about some housekeeping. Don't forget to follow us on our social media channels. We are annual_pass over on Instagram and on Twitter. We are Annual Pass Pod on TikTok, and you can go to youtube.com/annualpass to follow us over there. Watch the live show. The live version of this, the video version of the podcast, if you'd like, because so much work goes into it. Please just watch over there, or you can listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. And also grab some merchandise. Store.roosterteeth.com. I got my shirt I'm rocking today. You got the All Good No Worry shirt.
Yeah.
Brand new show that BK is doing right now. You can check that out.
Oh,
and so anyway, we got a fun one today. Lots of big news. So we record these pretty far in advance, but I just want to say, like, right now, we're just finding out about the whole Reedy Creek, Ron DeSantis versus Disney situation, and it's wonderful. I mean, this is like 3 weeks ago if you're listening to this thing live right now, but it's been interesting. And so hopefully I'm going to be putting together some stuff on our YouTube channel. So hopefully that came out 3 weeks ago or whatever.
I need it, Jack. I need the TLDR.
You can see my distilled version of kind of what's going on. Lots of chaos and drama. You gotta love it. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening. It really does mean the world to us. We are covering one of my favorite attractions in any park. We are talking about the Kilimanjaro Safaris. Jumbo! Welcome to the Simba One and your week trek in the African outback with us here on the Kilimanjaro Safari. So Kilimanjaro Safaris at Animal Kingdom, it opened with the park back in April 22nd, 1998. It was an opening day attraction for Animal Kingdom. Real quick, BK, what is the significance of April 22nd? Go.
Anniversary.
Yes, but what's special about the day other than the anniversary?
April 22nd.
Obviously, everyone knows.
I don't know.
It's Earth Day.
Oh, Earth Day.
Yeah.
Actually.
Animal Kingdom opened on Earth Day. That was the big thing. So its anniversary is April 22nd, Earth Day, which, as a matter of fact, that's coming up. So, wait a minute. It's next week.
Happy Earth Day.
Yeah, so this is being released sometime in mid-April, so it's coming up on its anniversary. What is that? 8 to 25 years? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow, 25 years. That was a happy coincidence, not planned at all, that I'm doing an Animal Kingdom attraction pretty much on the anniversary. Actually, it's going to be about a week and a couple days. So
that's cool.
That's pretty cool. There aren't, Animal Kingdom's now been open 25 years, and there aren't very many opening day attractions left. They've all been changed or altered or whatever. Can you name some of the other attractions that have been around since opening day? Because you were a Floridian around this time, right?
Honestly, I could have been there when it opened.
Really?
Like that park is pretty much almost as old as me.
Okay.
So I was a little babe. Do I remember it all? Not sure. But opening attractions.
Someone was holding you like Simba, walking around showing you things.
They were getting me in for $3.99 here.
There you go.
I would have to say, I don't know. Was it tough to be a bug in opening attraction?
It's tough to be a bug was an opening attraction. That's the one inside the big tree of life in the center of the park.
Yeah, I'll never forget.
Yeah. The bugs, let the bugs leave first before you do.
Oh, God. Worst nightmares.
Love it. There's another big one that has been there since opening day. I know you're going to catch it. Obviously, Expedition Everest came in later.
Right, that came in later.
Avatar came in later.
Yeah, that's way later. I'm trying to think. Has Dinosaur been there that long?
There you go, Dinosaur.
Okay, cool.
So I think it's Dinosaur Countdown to Extinction now.
Countdown to Extinction now.
I think when it first opened, it was just called Dinosaur. Mm-hmm. And so the original version of the ride, we've talked about it before here, but the original version of the ride didn't include, I think the Iguanodon was in it, but it wasn't themed as heavily around the Iguanodon because the movie then came out.
Yeah.
So the ride itself was open before the movie, and then they like incorporated some of the movie dinosaurs into it. So, and then also Festival of Lion King.
I was gonna say Lion King had to have been there on launch.
Fantastic show, by the way.
Phenomenal.
If you haven't seen Festival of Lion King, it's great. The monkeys doing like the bouncing around and dancing. It's so
and the singing.
Singing's beautiful, and those big floats they have with like Timon and Pumbaa. It's
so cool.
Very, very cool. It's an awesome show. I don't watch the shows as much as I should. That's one of the things, like, like there's the Frozen show over at Hollywood Studios, and there's like Beauty and the Beast, which is really good. I will say, so Hollywood Studios has a bunch of shows, it feels like now. The Voyage of the Little Mermaid, I always love that show.
I haven't seen that yet.
Really?
But Finding Nemo I have to vouch for as well. Yeah. Really good. The puppetry, awesome.
And they just updated that with like new screens and stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I need to go check that one out.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, the Voyage of the Little Mermaid is really neat because at one point you like go underwater, but it's like lasers and it's like water kind of like above you. It's really cool.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
That's what I remember. So anyway, getting off on a tangent here. So Kilimanjaro Safaris, when you walk into Animal Kingdom, you go in, you go around the corner, you see the big tree of life. Hang on the left side, but not too far left, because too far left is going to take you over to Avatar and that whole area in Pandora. Go around there towards Africa, and that's where the Kilimanjaro Safaris are, kind of in the back left corner of the park. This thing is big. I don't know if you know this. So this one is 110 acres. It is it's the largest and longest distance-wise attraction ever built for a Disney park. I've got a bunch of fun facts for this one. There's a ton of fun facts coming up. One of my first favorite fun facts about this, you could take Magic Kingdom and drop it into Kilimanjaro Safaris.
No way.
It's that big. It's that big. Yeah.
I'm shook right now. I'm visibly shook. I cannot.
The amount of land, because they let those animals roam. There's
it's like
a ton of land.
It's a reservation. Like it's supposed to be like a place where the animals like stay. I don't think they're putting them in other places, are they?
So some of them, so it's funny you mentioned that. Some of them they will move over towards the Animal Kingdom Lodge, where like the hotel is.
Oh yeah, the hotel.
So the resort. So some of them will go back and forth, like the giraffes kind of go back and forth between that. And they do kind of rotate some animals out. Apparently there's like at the very end, there's some zebras that sometimes are there, sometimes aren't. So they rotate them out with like backstage and stuff. But on stage, they have a lot of space.
Wow.
And so they do, like, they don't sleep there all the time, though. They actually have areas where they'll like take the animals in and let them sleep in like safer areas. But yeah, it's huge. The idea that you could take all of Magic Kingdom and drop it on there.
I'm still trying to process that. Like Magic Kingdom is big.
It's big. But honestly, Magic Kingdom was designed kind of with the idea of Disneyland in sort of
size or whatever scale.
So it's kind of perspective, scale of it, because they had done that before. It's like, let's kind of redo it. So it's kind of a copy and paste. And Disneyland is actually pretty small.
Okay,
it's very compact, and there's a lot of stuff kind of in there. And then with Epcot and sort of the other parks with Animal Kingdom with Hollywood Studios, they kind of started letting themselves breathe. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's open this up. Let's expand out some of the walkways and stuff. But like Disneyland and California Adventure are actually really compact parks, because again, they're landlocked out there. They don't have all of the acreage of land to be able to spread out into if they want to. Whereas Animal Kingdom or all the other parks aside from Magic Kingdom, I mean, even Magic Kingdom does have room to grow, not as much as you'd think, but so it is very much a compact park. But it's still the idea that like, oh, this one attraction's bigger than the whole park is pretty wild to me. One fun thing is, so Walt Disney originally, when they were opening up Disneyland, the Jungle Cruise, the Jungle Cruise is sort of the precursor to what Kilimanjaro Safaris is.
Oh, wow.
Because when they opened up Jungle Cruise, initially Walt Disney himself wanted to put real animals on the Jungle Cruise.
Oh.
He wanted to have zebras and wildebeests and all kinds of things. He was like, oh, this would be great if you actually go on a cruise and see like safari stuff. And then they were like, yeah, Walt, you can't do that, man. It's going to be so expensive to do, so impossible to keep them out of certain areas. It's like, no, we just can't do that.
That man's a man ahead of his time.
Yeah. And so honestly, Kilimanjaro Safaris is a spiritual successor to the Jungle Cruise.
That's so cool.
Which is neat. I didn't really think about that. So, so 50 years later, after, 1955 when Disneyland opened, and then, 50-ish years later, like, boom, we have the, Kilimanjaro Safaris. Joe Rohde. You know Joe Rohde?
I don't know, homie Rhodey.
Joe Rhodey, he's an Imagineer. If you've ever watched like the Imagineering story, he's the one that has the giant ear with all of the rings and stuff.
Oh, the rings and stuff on him.
Yeah, that dude. So that dude is pretty much responsible for all of Animal Kingdom. That guy, that Animal Kingdom was his baby, metaphorically. Like he oversaw the direction of it. Basically, Eisner said, make a park, and he went, okay. And so, at the time, Michael Eisner was the CEO of Disney. And so Joe Rhodey was the one behind it. He would take the Imagineers out to Africa and go on safaris and really told the story of what Animal Kingdom what he wanted it to be. And he was the driving force behind the entire thing. And so he is the one who oversaw the attraction, and he wanted to make sure this felt real. And one big thing about Disney was every attraction had to tell a story, and there needed to be a reason why you're there, not just like, let's just do this thing. It's like, no, what's going on here? And initially, the whole idea of the park, for the most part, is conservancy and, living with animals and living with nature. And so when they were building Kilimanjaro Safaris, they very much wanted to reiterate that. It's like, oh, we're doing positive things. Like, one neat thing, I didn't know about this, but all of the animals in Animal Kingdom were actually brought in from other zoos or acquired from reputable breeders. Like, they didn't take any animals from the wild.
I was gonna ask. Yeah. Okay.
And so, like, all the animals they have at Animal Kingdom were all brought in. So it's like they're not going out and taking animals from their natural habitat,
yeah,
which is kind of cool. They're also helping breed and like get more of these animals out there. Like, even my favorite animal. What's your favorite animal of all time?
Oh, I'm a big fan. It probably wouldn't be in the Kilimanjaro Safari, but in some other places. I love a good snow leopard.
Ooh, snow leopards.
I just love their coats, and they're so cute to me.
Nice. See, my favorite, another cat, my favorite animal of all time is a cheetah. I love cheetahs.
Are awesome.
Cheetahs are awesome. And I've said this fact before. People have said it's wrong, but cheetahs, they are the largest cat that purrs.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty cool. At least that's what I've been told. So, but every time I say that, someone's like, no, it's not actually correct. Anyway, that's what I've been told. So anyway, they have cheetahs there. That makes me very happy. But the cheetah population was actually very much dwindling down. And there's actually at the Smithsonian zoos up in Washington, D.C., they are in D.C. area. They actually have like a cheetah refuge hidden away where they've helped rebreed the cheetahs and get them back up to larger like population size.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is kind of cool. So anyway, I was a big fan of cheetahs. I always wanted, like, my dream in life was to go pet a cheetah.
Yeah.
Then I watched Tiger King, and I'm like, I never want to touch a cheetah. Like, no, that's
I don't want
to give money to anyone that would make that happen. Like,
right.
I'll donate money to a cheetah conservatories and stuff, and like make sure that's right. But it's like, nope, not trying to do that anymore. So anyway, don't watch Tiger King. It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible show. Oh, man. Okay, what else happened there? So Joe Rhodey, so he was the guy behind it all. He's recently left the Disney sort of network of people. There was some stuff where the former CEO, Bob Chapek, he was moving. He basically sort of forced all the Imagineers to move from California to Florida. They're building a new facility in Florida where they're going to start moving all of their design and creation stuff to Florida. He pretty much went like, yeah, if you want to be an Imagineer, you need to live in Florida. And there's a lot of people that are, not of the same thinking as some politicians in Florida. And they're cool, I'm never moving there, so I'm retiring.
Right.
And so Joe Rhodey has left Disney, but now with Bob Iger coming back, sounds like that move might not happen, or at least not to the extent that it might. So maybe we might see Joe Rhodey come back at some point.
A little consulting here or there, something like that. I'd be down for it.
Yeah, because even people like we're friends with Dave Cobb, and Dave Cobb still helps, advise on attractions and stuff. And it's like, maybe he's not full time and
call you in, be like, what's your rates for the day? Can I get your thoughts on this?
Exactly.
We need you in on this project, maybe.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's such a unique thing. Like, Imagineers and the designers like that, that's such a cool, unique job, because you have to be thinking about it from so many different angles and perspectives. It's like, okay, we have this idea for a ride, but also it literally needs to be able to push 1 million people through it a year and not break down to any extent. It's like, holy crap, like the thinking and the logic behind that stuff, it blows me away.
It's next level for sure.
It's really, really cool. When they were designing this attraction before Animal Kingdom actually opened, Disney botanists actually asked for 2 years to plant stuff inside of the attraction to get it to establish and grow.
Wow.
Which is wild to me that they were like, we need to know the layout of this attraction 2 years in advance so we can place stuff in the correct areas to let it grow and establish, and so it won't immediately get washed out or knocked over or anything.
That's awesome.
And they got it too, which is cool. That is
wow,
super cool.
That's so much planning.
Yeah, that is wild to me. And also one neat thing. So we don't really talk about the botanists and like the planters at Disney,
right.
but there's a lot of greenery that goes around, from like the plants hanging down Main Street USA to like the trees in Animal Kingdom. When I did the Disney Marathon both times, one of the neat things is when you finish, so you run through Animal Kingdom. And so most of the run is backstage at the parks, or at least when you're in the parks, you go backstage and stuff. See things that most normal guests wouldn't see. But over by Animal Kingdom, they actually have the grow houses for the various plants.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So you can you literally run by like the big greenhouses where they're growing like the flowers that then go on Main Street USA.
Oh, so cool!
And it's one of those things you don't really think about, but it's like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. They're not buying those plants all the time. It's like they can just they can hire a team that maintains them. But yeah. All of those greenhouses are near Animal Kingdom, so you run.
Wow.
I ran past them during the marathon.
That's
really,
awesome.
really cool.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and see, if you ran the marathon, you could see that.
Okay,
too.
listen, Jack. You're asking for a lot here.
5K, you won't see that. 5K, you're gonna run. You'll run backstage at Epcot, but you're not gonna see the Animal Kingdom stuff. It's okay. It's okay. Actually, I have the Google Maps thing up here because I was looking at the size of Magic Kingdom versus Animal Kingdom, and I'm trying to see if I can find
like the scale between the two parks as a whole.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see if I can find actually the greenhouses where they're building all this stuff. That's Conservation Station. Have you ever been to the Conservation Station?
I don't think so.
I've never been there. So it's kind of tough to see, but all of that area there is all greenhouses.
Really?
That they're doing plants and
Oh,
flowers
I can
and stuff.
see the shape of the building now, though. Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's big.
I guess it makes sense to keep it near, though. You're going to have people who are a little bit more like equipped with like nature and animals and like all of the greenery. I feel like that's not the right word, but it is.
No, that's totally the right word.
I keep thinking it's a color, and I'm like, no, that means like shrubbery.
You can see that's all farmland there. They're literally like growing crops and stuff out there. So, it's one of those things too where I want to say, so I think one of the dirty secrets about living with the land is that, they have all the stuff growing in the actual living with the land area. And they say like, oh, this is where all the stuff for, the Mickey's restaurant, whatever it is.
Yeah, the restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, the food there is grown here. Mm-hmm. They usually say it's grown here at Disney World. That's actually where it's grown.
You think it's there, not in the ride itself?
Yeah. I don't know if they're pulling out carrots from that ride. Like maybe every now and then.
I didn't know the ride had real food in it, and I'm an idiot. So anything is possible at this point.
Oh yeah. So if you're ever looking at Google Maps, if you pop open Google Maps, search Animal Kingdom, just go north, and you'll see kind of like the north side of the park is where the Kilimanjaro Safaris is. Beyond that is where all of the sort of green areas are where they're growing stuff and whatnot. So kind of cool, neat little fact there. One of those things that I didn't know about, and so I love sharing information about it. So
that's really cool.
What else we got here? So they have some secret tricks because on the ride, you Kilimanjaro Safaris, you want to see the animals, right?
Yeah, you got to have tricks to get the animals.
Yeah, are we
out.
are we going to see dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour? Yeah, so you're going to see animals, and so they do a lot of like sneaky things that guests don't know about, including having air conditioned rocks. Where some of these animals, because it's Florida, it gets
cool
hot.
Off by.
They literally will put stuff out there that the animals know. It's like, oh, I know that rock right there is actually the cool rock. I can go lay on that, and it's like, oh, it just happens to be where people can see you.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty neat that they do stuff like that. Also, they'll hide air conditioning where like they'll have fans going, and it's like, okay, in this area there's cooler air, so you can go out there and like get some cool air, and you might be in view of the guest. They also put out hidden troughs of food where like the guests can't see the food, but like the animals will come out there and eat, and it's like, oh, they're actually out there, and that's kind of cool, and it makes sense. And there's a lot of neat things they do. So one thing that I saw when I was there one time was they were weighing the birds. Because they have like different exhibits throughout the whole park and stuff, and we were watching one of the cast members working with an animal, and we asked her, like, what are you doing? She said, oh, we're weighing them right now. Do you have any idea how to weigh a bird? What would be your trick to weigh a bird?
I guess I don't know. I guess initially my gut instinct is like you want them to sit on something, but I feel like that's not going to work very well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe it's something with like holding the wings out, maybe like holding them like
just like dabbing the bird on a scale.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
no, so what they do is they actually have in most of the sort of the they're not pins, but most of the areas that the animals are in, they'll have a little square that's in the ground, and they'll train the animals to go stand on that square, and they'll give them treats when they stand there.
Oh, okay.
And so the birds know, it's like, oh, I'll go stand here and I'll get a fish or I'll get a treat or whatever.
Cool.
So they'll go stand in those spots, and they have access to see how much weight is on that spot at that time.
Oh, that's sick. I
Kinda
didn't
cool.
know that.
A lot of neat stuff. A lot of little hidden tricks and things like that throughout the park is really, really cool. So let's get into the original plot of Kilimanjaro Safari. So like I told you before, Joe Rohde always wanted to have every attraction have a reason for being there. And so one of the big things about the Kilimanjaro Safaris is they wanted to talk about conservancy, and honestly, they wanted to talk about poachers because poachers are a bad thing. So they the Imagineers devised a plot line for Kilimanjaro Safaris where, the whole idea is you're on this safari for a week, roughly. When you get on the bus, your tour guide, they talk about like, oh, like we're working with scientists in the field and like people out there in the conservancy areas, and you're driving around, and during the initial version of the ride, it's different now, but the initial version of the ride, there would be a radio call in that said, hey, we've discovered poachers out in the land. And it's like, uh-oh. And, one of the big moments in the Kilimanjaro Safari is you see elephants. And it's like, elephants are there, and these poachers want these elephants. And so Big Red and Little Red.
Big Red and Little Red.
Big Red, it's awesome. So Big Red, obviously the mama, Little Red's the baby. And so Big Red and Little Red, they've been captured.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And so at one point, your vehicle, towards kind of like the second third or maybe the last third of the attraction, encounters a poacher camp. And it's like, oh, there's tents and there's like guns and stuff. And then your driver's like, oh, there's poachers in the woods. You start hearing gunshots.
Oh my.
Yeah, this is it got changed pretty quick. You start hearing gunshots, so your driver books it out of there.
Yeah.
And then you go like, we have to save Little Red. We have to save Little Red. And so you're just careening through the back area of this, going really fast, and you round a corner, and there in front of you is a dead elephant. Yeah. Big Red, the elephant, they had a model of a dead elephant. And I want to say her tusks were cut off, too.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Traumatic.
Yeah. And so you see that, and that's horrible. And then, so you're then like, oh, we have to save Little Red. And you hear like gunfire and stuff over the radio. You round another corner, and it's one of the, what's like another concert, like someone from the tour guys, someone from the tour group with a gun pointed at like somewhere out in the bushes. And it's like, we got him. And it's, don't worry, Little Red's okay. And there was like a truck, and like Little Red was like moving its head. It's like, we saved Little Red. And then you finish the ride. And it absolutely terrified a bunch of children.
I think I was that child.
Yeah. Do you remember seeing?
Yes. I remember the not having the tusks.
I remember something about bones, and I don't know if it was Little Red, but I remember seeing bones at some point. But that might have been something different.
I think so. I remember seeing.
You remember seeing a dead elephant?
I remember seeing a dead elephant with no tusks. I vividly remember that.
Yeah. So that was something that apparently during cast member previews, the cast members were like, what the heck is this?
Like,
It's like, we can't do that. And very quickly, the dead Little Red was removed from the attraction. And they alluded to that they found her or something like that. I think.
Or maybe I just saw, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely remember there being a camp. I definitely remember like hearing stuff over the radio. So, but.
Yeah. And so, because I remember something, I don't know if I saw a dead elephant. I definitely went out there early after Animal Kingdom opened, but I don't know if I remember that. So,
okay.
But yeah, it's one of those things that also, like, I've also seen images and watched videos that maybe
maybe your brain is putting it.
Yeah, it's made a memory for me. And it's like,
totally.
I incepted myself with a dead elephant. So, yeah, there's lots. If you want to watch, I don't know if there's videos. I actually haven't looked at, but I'm sure there's some kind of video out there of the original version of the attraction. Obviously, that's changed. The script very quickly got changed up a little bit at the very beginning to remove the dead elephant. Then more and more they started kind of tweaking it and making it less about like Little Red's being kidnapped, and then eventually back in, I want to say 2007, 2008, they removed a big chunk of the Little Red scene. I think the actual little animatronic they got rid of that. And then in February of 2012, the Little Red portion of the story was completely removed. So
wait, it's gone now?
Yeah, I don't talk about.
I definitely have seen it.
Okay.
OG.
Okay.
Yeah, because like you said, 2007 is the first major changes.
That's when they started kind of tweaking it.
I was definitely there before that, for sure.
Yeah, I know I've seen different versions of it.
Yeah.
I worked out there in 2002, so I saw an older version.
So you
of it.
have seen an older version. Yeah, definitely.
And so, but yeah, in 2012, the Little Red portion of the story is completely gone.
What?
Or they removed a bit of it, and then by October is what it said, all traces were gone. So they got rid of everything.
So what's the plot then?
So now it's more about just conservation in general. And so like, let's look at these animals and like their natural habitat, even though it's a zoo. And so there's not really a story. There used to be like, there's a bridge you go over. And like, I remember at some point the bridge would like sway or creak or something.
Like, oh.
Yeah. And it's still there. You still drive over it. But they've cleaned it up so it doesn't look all like a bridge is about to fall apart.
Right.
But you still get like, there's one portion where you go kind of slow over a bridge. And that bridge used to be like the one, I want to say there were crocodiles underneath it. And it's like, oh, we have to be careful going over this.
Right. Yeah.
But now it's kind of, you just kind of slowly move over it.
I'm upset.
Yeah.
I had no idea it had that many changes.
Yeah, it's gone through. It's 25 years old.
I know it's been a minute since I've also been to Animal Kingdom. Like you're making me remember. I'm like the last time I went, it's probably around when Everest started being rolled out.
Yeah. Everest, great attraction.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think the last time I actually went to Animal Kingdom to like enjoy Animal Kingdom. I mean, because I've run through it twice in the last 2 years.
Right. But that's not really being at the park.
Yeah, as far as visiting. And like I missed out on Kite Tails, like which was like that came and went in a very brief amount of time. I'm sad I missed that. But anyway, I have to go back. I'm going to Florida next week for Extra Life United. So by now it's passed, but it's a big charity event. You know, Extra Life obviously we do every year, but they do Children's Miracle Network, which hosts Extra Life. They throw big events every year in Florida. And so I'm going next week for like 5 days to go hang out and like help out there. So, and then I'm going back the week after that to do my springtime surprise race, which would have happened. It's April 11th. So that would have just happened this past weekend. So I hope I did good. I hope I finished.
Future you is listening now.
Yeah. And then a friend of ours is going to be out there filming something that I might go back out to Florida again. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a lot of time in Florida. So. But anyway, so Kilimanjaro Safari is obviously, I personally love this attraction because it's a hosted attraction. Yep. You know me, I love my hosted attractions.
Me too.
I love a tour guide. I love someone speaking to an audience. I love someone reacting to it. And, unlike, a lot of people think like, oh, this whole thing is like just on a guided wire. Those are actual trucks. Yeah. So they're actually driving the trucks around. Yeah. Yeah. One fun thing though. So, the tracks, like the muddy tracks that you kind of go through, it's actually concrete. Those aren't real. That's not real mud.
Wait, that's not real mud?
Yeah, it's made to look like it's been,
It looks like mud.
But the thing is, if it was dirt, that would get torn up so much because they're running those trucks nonstop, dispatching like crazy. And if that was real dirt and mud, those would be destroyed.
No, the trucks would be getting stuck in the ground if it was actual mud.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
So the trucks themselves are actually, they're surrounded by, like, if you look at them from a distance, they have, not roll cages, but there's like a skirt around the wheels and the bottom of the truck because they don't want anything to get under it because there are animals out there and they don't want anything to be able to get under the truck. Right. One of the last times I rode this a few years ago, I was on it and a tour guide who was taking, or I guess our guide, not tour guide, I guess the safari guide. Yeah. They missed a turn just by a little bit where they didn't start turning in time or like their wheel kind of bounced or something. And the thing is, they're not allowed to back up the trucks without someone else there. Oh, man. So we basically made it where we went just a bit too far and they were going to have to reverse the truck. We had to sit there for about 10 minutes while someone else came out and was there to make sure nothing was behind us.
Right. You don't want to back up into an animal like that. And it's like a big truck. It's not just a normal size car.
No, it holds 32 people and it's suspended. It's a big truck. So that was interesting. And it's also, the attraction itself lasts between 18 and 22 minutes, kind of depending on, it's a pretty long attraction. But, there are wild animals on the attraction and there are rhinos that are wandering around. And some of these rhinos, they're kind of jerks and will they'll go sit in the road and they're not going to go around them. So they'll just sit there and be like,
you have to wait.
Yep.
That has happened to me once for sure.
Yeah. Rhinos, emus, some of like the larger creatures will just they'll wander into the road every now and then. Like, but you don't want to, honk at a giraffe.
Right. I mean, we're guests in their domain. So we got to respect them.
Yeah, I'm curious. That'll be my question of the week this week. So, we always ask the question of the audience. Have you ever been on Kilimanjaro safaris and had an animal interrupt your safari or any interesting things on there? I'm really curious to hear what you guys have been through, because I know I've seen animals that are just kind of like, all right, I'm going to park myself for a bit. I actually do have a story. When I was out there in 2002 or 2005, when I was doing my college program, I worked with someone. I don't know if this is true. I want to believe it's true. A, because I love cheetahs, and B, because this is an awesome, horrible story.
Okay, here we go.
So, they when they feed the animals and whatnot, they have like troughs and stuff to go eat at. And, it's like they're not feeding them live animals, at least not in front of cast or in front of guest or anything like that. But supposedly one day, one of my friends, their friend was a tour guide on the Kilimanjaro safari, driving a car around, and they noticed that cheetahs were being extra energetic. And I was like, that's interesting, weird. And all of a sudden, the cheetahs burst into full sprint. There was a rabbit in their enclosure. And cheetahs move very quickly when they want to. And those cheetahs caught that rabbit.
Oh, my gosh.
And proceeded to have a little afternoon snack in front of a bunch of guests.
Oh, no.
And a lot of guests thought that was part of the show. And it's like, no. So that rabbit picked the wrong place to end up.
Oh, not the bun.
Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I'd like to believe it's true. They are still wild animals, and that's pretty impressive.
And it's like, it could happen. I mean, it's Florida. Something could just wander its way in.
Well, that is one of the things too. Is during the attraction, the whole idea is you're supposed to be transported to Africa, and it's all these African animals, really cool stuff. Lions and cheetahs and elephants and giraffes. But there's Florida wildlife that will sometimes wander onto the tour, and the tour guides, they never mention the actual Florida wildlife. So, there's a flamingo pond. At the flamingo pond, there's also ducks because ducks find like, oh, this is a cool, nice area.
Spot. There's
this is
food
safe.
here.
There's food here. So, so ducks will show
I
up.
was something to say, birds probably come down and hang out.
Also ibis, which is another like common Florida bird. Those things will be seen all over the place. Also vultures or black vultures, which we call them buzzards. Do you call them buzzards?
I've heard both.
Okay.
I've heard both.
So apparently a buzzard is just a black vulture is what they're called. That's that kind of bird. But
There's different color vultures? I didn't know that.
I guess so. Maybe. But anyway, so buzzards show up every now and then, and again, there's just food kind of scattered about.
Right.
So it's like, all right. So, but yeah, the tour guides are very much like that. They don't talk about
exist.
Them.
I don't know.
We don't
talk about them.
What other fun facts I got here? So you know me, I love my hidden Mickeys.
Yeah.
There is an enormous hidden Mickey, an island-size hidden Mickey, the Flamingo area. So there's Flamingo Island at one point, where it's like this big island surrounded by water. The island itself, it's almost impossible to see from the vehicle. The island itself is in the shape of a Mickey. Yeah, there's a tree on it and stuff, but the ground is three circles that make a Mickey. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Kind of cool. If you look at Google Maps, you can see the whole thing. Yeah, it's really, really neat. It's very, very large. Not as big as the one at Hollywood Studios, but that's still my favorite hidden Mickey of all time. Before they added Sunset. Do yourself a favor, go look for a 1989 map of Disney MGM Studios.
Yep.
And turn it upside down. It's really cool. There's a big old hidden Mickey at the courtyard of the Great Movie Ride, and then it's like the Echo Lake is an ear, and then there was another ear painted on top of the Brown Derby, and now where Sunset is. It's all gone now, unfortunately. But anyway, what else here? So if you're looking for a good time to visit, visit the attraction, you will see a lot of animals around and stuff. The morning is the best time to do it.
Okay.
So if you can get there first thing in the morning, because the animals are waking up and getting their breakfast,
right?
So they're moving around for the first time. Also, it's cooler typically in the morning,
so they're gonna be a little more active.
Yeah, so they're going to be active. They're going to be staying out in the sun and whatnot, actually wandering around, checking out some stuff.
So, that's your animal, oh my goodness, I almost called it Animal Crossing. That's a game, not the park. But your start there at the park has got to go to that ride first then, essentially.
I mean, ideally, yes, but the problem is that attraction fills up very, very quick. So, it's funny, if you watch Defunctland's video on FastPass, they do a whole thing. There's a whole thing about Animal Kingdom. I won't spoil it for you, but there's a whole thing about Animal Kingdom, and they really they basically break down that there are two attractions at Animal Kingdom that people go on. They go on the Avatar Flight of Passage, and they go on Kilimanjaro safaris, and to a lesser extent, Expedition Everest and Dinosaur. But those two, so Flight of Passage and Kilimanjaro safaris are by far the busiest attractions there.
Oh.
And also the thing with Kilimanjaro safaris is it doesn't really go down, it doesn't really break, because if a vehicle goes down, they just pull it and they've got a whole bunch of vehicles running. But if something happens where a rhino sits in the road,
You're sitting there.
all right, you're not going to move, which means the waterfall effect happens, and then everything back to the queue.
Right.
It also slows down. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. So if you get Genie Plus or something like that, maybe grab the Lightning Link for this one. It goes very, very quickly.
Okay,
so
okay.
check that one out. So from Wikipedia, I pulled out some interesting facts, some from Joe Rohde himself. The queue for Kilimanjaro safaris was inspired by the Mbuyu camp. The Mbuyu camp check-in on the Selous, Selous Reserve in southern Tanzania.
Okay.
So Joe Rohde and the Imagineers went there when they were doing research for Animal Kingdom, and so there's like a big tree and kind of like a little like draped sort of canopy.
Yeah,
that's almost an exact copy of the one they saw when they were in Africa at the Selous Reserve in Tanzania. Very, very cool. So again, here I mentioned before, Kilimanjaro Safaris is the largest attraction ever created by Disney. Obviously, it's massive. The Kilimanjaro, the actual ride vehicles themselves are based on the ones that they use in South Africa's Kruger National Park. So they do things where they like take people around in actual safaris, and so they based the ride vehicles kind of off that one too.
Cool.
Also, I mentioned before that the ground, the path you ride on is all concrete. There's like mud on the side of the vehicles. That's just painted concrete. They like sprayed it on to make it look like mud.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like all the visuals and like I feel like the overall vibe is just really on point. I think that's why I like this ride so much, because like I've been on a couple like safaris myself. I've been to South Africa, and like the experience, as much as it is, kind of staged in a way, is really similar. Like even down to the tricks to try to get the animals to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not putting AC out in the middle of Africa, but they do have techniques, like the people who would give you those tours in the Jeeps and like try to get certain animals to come out or know specific locations to be like, they come out at this time and I might throw a treat here or there, I might not supposed to be, but you're going to see a rhino if you come with me. So that's so cool to see that and see so much care put into it.
Yeah. And even like Joe Rohde talked about that when they went on these tours in Africa, they noticed it would be like, oh, there's like a mama cheetah out with like a pup or a kitten or whatever they call them, the baby cheetahs.
Pup or a kitten.
But then it would be like 7 vehicles crowded around this one area. And it really kind of took away from the whole like feel of it. It didn't feel as natural. It felt like, oh, here's like an attraction. Everyone's there, look at the thing and then drive off. And so when they designed the Kilimanjaro safaris, they wanted to feel more intimate, where it's like, you're always rounding turns and bends, and there's trees and hills put in such a way that you can't tell there's another vehicle just around the corner from you. Like they space them out in such a way, and based on like the way they dispatch, they're able to kind of hide that from you. So you never really see more than maybe 1 or 2 other vehicles on the road at the same time. Yeah. So they take that into account. It's very, very clever.
I mean, I have my like famous, my most memorable experiences. I did in fact get to see like I guess it was a cheetah hunt. I don't think it was a gazelle, but it was a gazelle type, and my truck found it.
Oh wow.
But they call it in like to their homies, so it would be like maybe 1 or 2 trucks that kind of came around, but they were courteous. They wanted to set it up but also not get in the way of what the hunt might be.
Okay.
But then sure enough, after you see 2 or 3 trucks there, other trucks are like, what's going on over here? What's going on?
What are you looking at?
Right. And it definitely takes away from the experience. I love that it's so intimate in the park.
Yeah. And again, like this thing is huge, so they can put a lot of vehicles. I don't know the actual number of trucks they have running at any one time, but it's got to be pretty significant. Let's see here. What else? So the Imagineers had to place over 2.3 million plants when making Kilimanjaro safaris. Plants and trees. That's absolutely wild. And also, Imagineers, they had to move 1.5 million cubic yards of dirt as well, which is crazy. That is so much dirt.
I mean, it makes sense, but like you don't think about that at all.
That's a lot of dirt you have to shift around to make, because they're making an outback. They're making a whole thing, right?
They're making an entire ecosystem, or I don't know what to call it. Like,
That's wild. So one of the things is the very end of the attraction, at one point they brought in zebras. So like the last sort of show scene they had was zebras and that whole enclosure there. But apparently the zebras were getting a little bitey.
Much.
Yeah. So apparently they were fighting each other, and also they were a little bit frisky, to put it family friendly. And so apparently the zebras, they've come and gone a few times. No pun intended. And so like every now, supposedly they're still there.
I feel like I remember seeing zebras.
Yeah, so apparently they'll show up every now and then, but they're not
Okay.
like a staple. You can't count on zebras being there, but apparently they do show up occasionally.
Okay.
So whether or not they'll be there every time, I don't know. But keep an eye on the last. Apparently, like there's another larger kind of like not an antelope, but something like that towards the end. They'll kind of rotate them out. So
Okay.
sometimes you see zebras, sometimes you don't. And let's see here. Oh, and also, so according to Imagineer Joe Rohde, at one time there was a bloody zebra carcass that was used as a carnivore drinker. So basically, they had like a thing they would fill with water that the larger animals would drink out of.
Oh.
And so that might be the bones I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
Yeah, because like apparently it was really freaky and they got rid of it pretty quickly after putting it out there. But I remember seeing like a dead animal or something, and that may have been it. So I'm not 100% sure if that is true or not. So very, very cool attraction. Obviously, again, let us know in the comments over roosterteeth.com if you have any fun experiences on Kilimanjaro safaris, because I'm very curious, because this, more so than pretty much any attraction out there, is open. Like it can happen.
Right.
Different things can happen on it.
It's the most like organic, like natural ride.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, I mean, like, maybe a giraffe came and shoved its head under the canopy. I don't know. Like, I'm curious if you've had any fun experiences on Kilimanjaro safaris. Let us know in the comments at roosterteeth.com. And when we do a live stream, we're going to be doing our next live stream probably in, I don't know if this will be before or after our next one, but we're doing one in the middle of April and we're doing one in the middle of May. And so, so we'll read through some of them, and we'll let you guys know what was out there. Some really, really cool stuff. But fun time. That's pretty much going to do it for Kilimanjaro safaris. Do you have a good time on Kilimanjaro safaris? Is that one of the attractions you have to go to every time you go to Animal Kingdom?
Oh yeah, that's a staple.
Yeah.
Like for sure. I just didn't know the morning was the wave. I think we usually catch it like in between when everyone's doing lunch and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but then again, it's not the best time to see the animals.
No, it starts getting pretty hot.
Yeah.
One neat thing is the queue for this one, I know for a fact, actually has a frozen lemonade stand in the middle of the line. So because the line gets so long, they literally have I want to say they have restrooms and they have frozen lemonade
They're
can
like,
pick
we've
up.
got you, don't worry.
Yeah, because it gets very, very hot and it's a very windy queue. But anyway, fun times. So excellent. Let us know about your Kilimanjaro experiences. BK, you feel like you learned anything today?
Yeah, I learned that Magic Kingdom is not that big and my whole life has been a lie.
That's what I was aiming for. That's what I was hoping for. That you would panic and start questioning your existence.
I'm questioning my existence. I thought the scale, like my brain cannot compute. Wow.
It's okay. You'll be all right. You're safe here. You're safe here. So thank you again, everyone, for listening and watching Annual Pass. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're annual_pass over on Twitter and on Instagram. Annual Pass Pod on TikTok and youtube.com/annual pass if you want to see the video version of the show. Go to store.roosterteeth.com. Pick up some merch. We got plenty of merch still in the store right now. You can grab one of those stickers, throw it on a mug just like that. And they're very, very cool stuff. We love it, and it supports the show. So we thank you very, very much. Again, we mentioned in the past, but we've got some stuff coming up with Annual Pass coming out. We'll be letting you guys know about sort of the future of Annual Pass coming up pretty soon once we kind of figure out exactly what's going on with it. But yeah, there'll be some changes coming, just letting you know right now. So we're working on some things, but we're still going to be talking about theme parks as long as we possibly can. So don't you worry your pretty head about that. Yeah. It'll be good times. But until then, we'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. We love you, and we'll see you in the future. Bye, everyone.
See ya.